let's check in on the Cajuns from ULL Lafayette. Up in Ypsilanti, Michigan, taking on Eastern Michigan. The Eagles winless on the season. Cajuns come out slinging it. That's right. They come out slinging it in the passing game. Daniel Beal to Robert Williams, 18 yards on the completion here. Then they go to the run. That two-headed monster they got at running back, Zylan Perry, one of the two. Look how he takes us here. 23 yards on the touchdown run. Great start for the Cajuns on the road, up 7-0 with the passing game going and the running game going. Dante McMillian for the Eagles end. He's going to take it 21 yards up the middle. Remember, these two teams, both of them struggle against the run. In fact, Eastern Michigan dead last in the country against the run. That would set up a Noah Kim 3-yard touchdown. 10-7 Cajuns in the second. Kim finds Nick Devereaux. Look at this catch. Spinning out of bounds at the 2. The Eagles punch it in to make it 14-10. Cajuns respond, though. 7-play drive, the dagger. Bill Davis, there's your other running back. He gets it done, 45 yards. Cajuns are up 17-14. Now, just before the half, Noah Kim finds Joshua Long, 15 yards on the completion. It's 21-17. Eastern Michigan up by 4 at the break. Almost 10 minutes into the third, Cajuns retake the lead thanks to the defense. Cortland Flowers jumps in front of this horrible pass, and he's going to take it home. Makes a couple of moves, gets it into the end zone. 35 yards, it's 24-21 Cajuns. First play of the fourth quarter. Dunlop again from 6 yards out. Back come the Eagles, 28-24. Late fourth now, it's 31-24. Watch Beal stay in the pocket. Up top to Sheldon Sampson, 43 yards with a great catch by Sampson. That's going to set this up. Zylan Perry, under a minute to go, 10 yards out. This ball game is tied at 31. But in the ensuing kickoff, a squib kick? Really? Interesting. It's short. The Eagles get good field position. On third down, they need to get a stop. The Cajuns got to get to him. Kim scrambling, heaves it up. Oh, no. He finds Joshua Long for 27 yards. That leaves 7 seconds on the clock for Rudy Kessinger to come in. And from 41 yards out, he sends the Cajuns on the long road trip home with a loss. 34-31, Eastern Michigan cracks the win column for the first time this season. Beal, we'll talk about in a moment, a very solid day at the quarterback position. He'd like those picks back, but the numbers certainly improved. Total yards, Louisiana had more. In fact, statistically, they had a lot more of everything, except for in the final score, where Eastern Michigan gets the win, and now the Cajuns have to regroup before jumping into conference play against Marshall.
We knew we were going to start getting some heavy boxes, and we were going to have to bit of play, throw and catch. And, it was good to see part of the game look a lot better, and certainly to see some of those guys make some big plays. Daniel, the receivers, protected, I thought, a whole lot better, really, in general. That's certainly a positive. It's just not frequently enough, I guess, as an offense to, be able to continue to attack points.
So, Scott, it was one of those strange games because there was so much improvement that they wanted to see. But then when you look at the breakdown, total yards advantage Cajuns, rushing yards advantage Cajuns, third down conversions were even. Red zone, maybe there's your difference. They only got in there twice. They had the ball for 2 seconds less. So many positive numbers. Even though they had 2 more penalties, it was for fewer yards. Yeah. But in the end, it's that scoreboard that just couldn't make the plays when needed down the stretch.
Yeah, and I think when you look at scoreboards like this and box scores, it looks a lot like it does on Sundays. And it's about making the plays at the very end. Those 4, 5, 6 plays that you look at, did we make them in the critical moment when it mattered most? But, if you're the Cajuns, you're encouraged by the passing game. The passing game came alive this week. You don't want to turn the ball over twice in the passing game. But I think for the offense, the more you can get the ball to Perry and Sampson, I think good things will happen for this offense.
Yeah, and certainly starting to find their own. We'll talk more about the passing game in a second. But I want to go back to what happened at the end. I will tell you that after the ball game, because they were up in Michigan, they had a Zoom call so we could try to talk to Coach and get some comments. And we did get some comments from him. But then the call went out and they lost the signal. One of the questions I'd love to ask, and I'd love to know if he'll address this week when he talks to the media. Let's go back to that last segment after they tie the game at 31. You have a chance to maybe pin them back, unless you're afraid of them running it back, which I'm not sure had been a problem at all. The squib kick, if that was scheduled, I'm not sure it was kicked the way it needed to be, Scott. It started at the 35.
Yeah, I have no problem with the squib kick. I think a lot of coaches in the situation would have done it. You would like that squib kick to be dribbled at least another 10 to 15 yards. A lot more force. And I don't know if he just mishit it, but it just wasn't enough force on the squib.
Yeah, so you want to see a squib kick, but you want it to go to the 20, 15, right?
You want it to dribble down there, roll around where the return guy has trouble picking it up. Now your coverage unit gets a chance to get down there and corral him a little bit. You don't want to kick it off, a normal kickoff. Let that hang time happen. That's where the lanes start to happen. You give up a kickoff return. So no problem with the squib kick. The execution of it probably should have been a little harder.
Okay, fair enough. You also talked about the passing game, and let's talk about that because remember, 1 week ago for the Cajuns, they completed 2 passes for 4 yards. Both of them were in the first quarter, and one of them was for a negative yard. Afterwards, Decimo said, I've never seen anything like that. That's a ridiculous line score. Daniel Beal's been trying to work in because Walker Howard was the guy. He finally looked comfortable. This is what they were hoping to see for a passing game that they won. And to your point about Sampson and company, now they can get a comfort with their quarterback. What I like, Scott, here, check down Charlie, right? First, he stays in the pocket. Let's get him going a bit. Let's get some comfort. Now we're going to drop back. Now we're going to kind of let it rip a little bit. He gets a nice one here. You'll see more in a minute where there's another check down. Then at the end, we saw the big one to Sampson. You're almost like watching them build confidence as it's going. Look at the progression before he finds a wide open guy. Check down here, but you know what that does? That's 14 yards.
And that's building confidence. And what you have to do for a quarterback, because in the passing game, it is all timing, chemistry, rhythm. And if you let a quarterback drop back there and you're throwing deep routes, deep crossing routes, and he's getting hit in the back of the head, that speeds up their internal clock. And now they're off course for the entire game. So I love the rhythm they got this young man in early. Just, you said it. Check down Charlie. There's nothing wrong with that. Take what the defense is giving you, and I thought it was a much improved passing game from last week.
Yeah, they certainly need it, and they want to continue growing that as they get ready to open up conference play in a big matchup with Marshall. But a nice job by Beal to see that development from a couple of weeks ago to what we saw Saturday. Unfortunately, a 3-point loss up there in Ypsilanti, Michigan.